I think it's misleading. I think the first penalty against Kitshoff should have gone to Kitshoff. Furlong cranked and lost his bind. I think the other one was also quite harsh when Sinclair came on against Kitshoff as well. So the one against Maherba I think is fair enough. But yeah, I think from a set piece point of view we were very strong. We weren't given a lot of lineouts in the first test match, second test match. They gifted us lineouts. And then I'm going to show you why the scrum can be such a powerful weapon. Listen in, Shim.
I'm listening.
Okay, so more importantly, when Spicy Plum gets that left shoulder, look where Sears getting ahead of his opposite number, Curry. He's got to stay down. And just from there, he gets into that first tackle position. Look where Curry is. Look where Sear is. And that's just all from getting a nice left shoulder from Spicy Plum, putting the pressure on their scrum piece. This one as well, Colby's off the field with a yellow card. Therefore, they've got the blind option. Spicy Plum takes it up again, gets the left shoulder, gives time for Faf to come around. And just one thing for people, particularly eighth mans, never go against the wheel. There's a lot of opportunity to go up to the left-hand side. And then this scrum, there's no question. Why Carl Sinclair was even questioning the referee, there he goes down on his knee. He's obviously trying to get Trevor really cranked down on. There he goes down again. There's no question that's a penalty. Yes, it decides the test match ultimately, but there's definitely a penalty to the Springboks. So what we did with our scrum specifically in damaging whatever sort of platform they might have had in the latter part of the game, there's no question it won us the test series.
So, Robbi, can I come in here and just say, what is your opinion about subbing Tate Furlong when he was doing such a good job?
Nick, we spoke about it last night. They lost the test match when they took Furlong off the field. Yeah. He's an 80-minute player. He gets around the park. He makes tackles. He's a ball carrier. More importantly, he doesn't move in the scrum.
Yeah, Kempo, don't forget to mention the hookers. Bongi Monambi and Malcolm Marks, very good scrumming hookers. People underestimate the value that Bongi does. He's almost like another scrum coach on the field. He determines which way to go, you know. And the thing is, generally with scrums, the team that adapts the fastest is that one will get well. You know, if you're losing the battle, sometimes the best thing to do is get that ball in and out quickly. He'll say, boys, be patient. We're going to get them eventually. Not the first, second scrum, maybe the third scrum. But when you're in the middle there, you can feel when you're getting that advantage, you start to make the inches. So I think people forget how good Bongi is as a set-piece hooker and what he does at scrum time.
Now, let me bring in here quickly. When you look, depth going forward, you know, Ox coming through, a few guys are coming through. Are we safe in the prop department? Hooker?
Yeah, I think we're very safe. You walk past Walker Lowe, and he's got his tracksuit on. Thomas Dutoy. I think Joseph Drever had a good game with the South African A-team. Young Grobler from the Bulls was there. Skaran Tuveni still doing some Currie Cup rugby. So we've got some good young props. I thought Ox, for a guy that was playing his third test, was phenomenal. I thought he was very good, and he'll certainly come back in the mix. And you can always rotate this. I think you're always in a good sort of phase when you're not worried about the starting front row or the bench front row, and you can swap them around and rotate, and then you know you're doing something right there.
It's really interesting to see how well Trevor did at loosehead. Having spent 2 years adapting to tighthead and doing a great job at tighthead, suddenly, you know, he comes on as loosehead and really dominates. We win lots of penalties when he comes onto the field.
Yeah, just on that point as well with the hookers, Robbi, you must help me as well, just for the viewer out there. How important is the role of the hooker? Because I remember working with the guys, just always being the backline guys and see what the forwards do up front there. And then a guy like Bali Swart would say to me, if you've got a good hooker, I'm thinking of a Malcolm Marks, for example, and a Bongi and those guys. How important is that hooker in the scrum? Because we always talk about the props.
No, he's vital. I mean, when I say vital, he can determine which shoulders he gets. He obviously can scrum with a tight end in certain scrums. He scrums the loose head on other scrums. He's vitally important. So the strength of the hooker is just as important as the strength of the front row. So very good point, as Shimi.
We've got two hookers.
All of us are very impressed. I'm like, ooh.
Men with superior intelligence.
Can I add to that scrummaging? I'm only a small backline player. If you look at how hard the back row were working and the synergy that went through all of them, if they dipped, everybody dipped at the same time. If they came up, and that put that pressure on that Lions team when they least expected. Wow, to be a scrummer behind the pack like that, I mean, your fly-off can actually be in heaven. Eh? How, Robbi, how much work has gone into that to get that whole 8? It's one scrum to work like one man.
No, listen, give it to Don. Human has done an excellent job. Now to get all those 8, not just 8, I mean the 16 and the extended squad, that's a part of the whole deal. For those players, put that much effort into every scrum. plus then get up into the defensive-orientated game plan. It's really an exceptional work rate from the forwards and the tight forwards.
Yeah, and if you've got a scrum, you know, if you've got a good scrum DNA, it's also how you train, Kempo. Because we've all been there, live scrum, it's collapsed, it's nothing productive, how the peer-to-peer feedback helps. So especially when you're rotating the guys, like Kitsoff can go to Malherbe, scrum against, or Trevor can scrum against France and say, look, when you do this, you had me here. When you do that, that doesn't really work. So the guys are continually helping each other. So an Oxen Chair would have scrummed against France, Vincent Koch, all these guys before he actually had live scrums of training before we went on the field against a furlong. And as long as they're giving feedback, then you got it, you know, culturally going nicely and a strong sort of DNA around that. Then you'll always do well in scrum time.